With the sad news that our beloved Belgian bot will not be able to return to compete in the remainder of the season, it seemed that nothing was going to be able to excite us again in the remainder of the Vuelta España. Fortunately, a pro team invited by the organisation seemed determined to remind us of legendary guest teams like the legendary Kelme of the doper Piti Valverde or Eladio Jimenez or Dr. Marcos Minar in 2004, or the historic Navigare in 2008 with Golem Sella destroying the best climbers in the Giro d'Italia doped with Mercera. We're talking, of course, about Kern Pharma, a Spanish team that, in the last 2 years, had only won a single stage of the Tour of Taiwan and another in the Tour Nord d'Isère. And yet suddenly, they've conquered 3 stages in the Vuelta España, surpassing in only 18 days the Grand Tour records of up to 11 World Tour teams, with the last victory of Urko Berrade, thanks to great teamwork on stage 18 of the Vuelta, and that, of course, can be added to the 2 wins of the promising Pablo Castrillo in the second week of the Spanish round. How could it be possible? Who are the magicians and druids behind these performances of 2 cyclists who had no previous victories as professionals, and yet suddenly achieved their first victories in a race as big as the Vuelta España? Subscribe to the channel to find out, and of course follow us on our personal Twitter, @UncleCycling, and then you can find out before anyone else all this news and much, much more. And now, yes, let's analyse just who's behind and who's part of this already legendary Kern Pharma, the best 100% wildcard team of the last 16 years in cycling. After the death of the historic skipper Manolo Ascona a few days ago, the structure of this small UCI second category team is mainly based on former riders of the legendary team of historic dopers like Ivan Mayo, Mikel Astaloza, Aitor Gonzalez, and the doping doctor Jesus Losa. Of course, Euskaltel Euskadi. The main director, Juan José Oroz, was never an outstanding cyclist, with only 1 victory in the Tour of Korea as a professional. The second director, Mikel Nieve, was one of the most prominent domestiques on the doped and sickly Sky team during the White Kenyan era, a much more recognisable character to the vast majority of you. And then another of the directors, Pablo Urtasun. He was an Euskaltel rider with minor victories in Spanish and Portuguese races, enjoying more than 10 years as a professional cyclist. As directors, it seems that at least 2 of these 3 ex-cyclists are much more successful nowadays than they ever were on the bike. But who is behind the success of this team, which has gone from being a trainer of Movistar riders to a team with its own identity, capable of winning big stages in Grand Tours? Beyond the obvious hilarity of the sponsor, a pharmaceutical company endorsed by 2 great legends of Spanish sport and influenced by the Navarrese environment, men such as Enevid Indurain and Probenecid Delgado, who advertise and sell Kern Pharma finisher gels, there's a miraculous medical team capable of making riders without victories into destroyers of popular cyclists, and all in an apparently simple way, led by Dr. Alfredo Resano. This 57-year-old doctor had not been an official member of any team before joining the Kern Pharma structure, but he had enjoyed contact with many athletes throughout his almost 30-year career. From golfers who dedicate pictures to him in the purest Luigi Dr. Cecchini style, to soccer players of all kinds of levels and disciplines who have improved tremendously thanks to Dr. Resano's treatments. But evidently his most prominent clients over the years have been professional cyclists, brilliant men and women in their respected disciplines. From the sister of the doped Colombian cyclist Marlon Patiño to the legendary cyclist implicated in Operation Puerto, Coldo Gil Perez. And this is all thanks to his speciality, allergies. He's one of the most prominent experts on the European scene, and he has helped several riders to overcome their allergies thanks to treatments at the private clinic San Miguel, which he has attended over several seasons, looked after Movistar team riders such as the doper Piti Valverde, focusing Evenepoel's friend Mikel Landa, or the already classic Tramadolito Quintana. Dr. Resano was a legend when it came to treating several of the athletes connected to the Navarrese environment, whether Movistar or Caja Rural. Even Enevet Indurain himself went to his clinic to prepare for amateur events. Oh, if only the champion of 5 Tour de France could have counted on his services when he was a professional and suffering from that damnable asthma that made him positive for salbutamol. However, Dr. Resano's fetish cyclist, with whom he has some hilarious images posing with the Tirreno Adriatico champion's trident, is the 7-time Grand Tour winner Alberto Contador, who, like former Katusha team rider Daniel Moreno, has overcome some of his biggest weaknesses, those allergies which the clenbuterol-doped pistolero suffered from between 2010 and 2013, helping him to rise from the ashes and soar again in a historic 2014 season for the Spaniard. It should come as no surprise that the current Eurosport commentator publicly congratulates his one-time doctor's team, one of the few he's had in his career that has not been sanctioned for life. You see, Contador is so grateful to Dr. Resano that he's even recorded promotional videos for his clinic and his methods. A clinic that, incidentally, is not very well rated by users on Google, as you can see in the images. Dr. Resano is also an influential character in Spanish culture. He's a friend of the legendary basketball player and double NBA champion Pau Gasol, who, in addition to consulting the former Once team doctor, Nicolas Terrados, apparently he also visited Dr. Resano to be cured of an allergy problem, and then he went on to perform with Kobe Bryant and achieving a world championship ring. And as if this were not enough, Dr. Resano's sister, Elena, is a popular journalist with almost 30 years of presenting news in Spain, and she didn't hesitate to promote Dr. Alfredo in his program, presenting him as a miraculous magician, able to create a cocktail of vaccines capable of stopping COVID-19 in its tracks in the middle of a pandemic. With all these contacts in the world of sport and the press, Dr. Resano is essentially an eminence in Spain, and specifically in Navarran territory, a very popular area with cyclists, so we have no doubt that he will continue to make Kern Pharma cyclists shine in the near future. The cycling world is very inbred, and there are not only relationships between teams, as we saw with Dr. Resano and Movistar and Kern Pharma, but also between team members themselves. Take the wife of the Kern Pharma director, Juan José Oros, Yosoni Morillo. She was a former professional cyclist, a domestique for the legendary Joanny Somariba, a multiple champion of the women's Tour de France, before it was under the watchful eye of Marion Rousse. And she retired just after Operation Puerto, becoming a physical trainer of cyclists, with particular highlights, of course, in the Movistar team. She was the doctor capable of making the king of the minions, Richard Carapaz, whom she even hosted in his European move to Kern Pharma, take the big leap forward, conquering his so far first and only Grand Tour, the 2019 Giro d'Italia. Her partner and director did not hesitate to hire her for Kern Pharma, and her results to date, well, they've been spectacular. You've seen them yourself. And she considers herself a pioneer for being a woman capable of making men shine. Oh, it would be nice if she would also tell us what methods she's used to make her own cyclists so incredulous that they can't believe in their own victories. Now that would be a true pioneering move in the history of cycling. Oh, and what about Kern Pharma's nutritionist, Guillem Vizcaíno, who, despite having been with the team for years, working for several Catalan clinics and having extensive sports experience, has decided to study a doctorate from the University of Navarra, despite being Catalan and studying at the University of Barcelona. But perhaps this way, at 28 years of age, he can become the most brilliant doctor in his speciality. Unlike the thesis proposed by the nutritionists of the Saunier Duval team, Guillem Vizcaíno does not want his cyclists to take processed foods or beers, so neither the Slovenian alien Poggi nor the much-beloved at Kern Pharma, Calippo Soler, could enjoy their bitter-sweet guilty pleasures with this tough follically challenged doctor. He boasts of giving the right gasoline to the promising Pablo Castrillo in his LinkedIn posts. Now, pro cyclists who follow me, I could advise you also to follow Dr. Vizcaíno and his wise eating tips for performance on the bike. I assure you, they will be brilliant. Oh, yes, I know, I haven't told you anything about the latest stage of the Vuelta España, but you see, here at Cycling Highlights, we don't have siblings who are top journalists, we don't get paid for doctoral studies, and, well, none of our partners are directors of anything, so paying a few more euros to the video editor to tell you what happened, well, it's not really worth it. Not until tomorrow's video. We'll do it then, of course. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that one, and also that video on the screen there. Stop by it. You'll love it!